Oh, it says I'm live. Great. Well, it's entirely up to other people to decide whether or not I'm live or alive. So, is the audio working and everything, yada yada yada? I hope you guys are having a lovely Friday night. I'm gonna have my last and first glass of the week, really, and talk about this. Really weird. Saw this in my feed yesterday. Keywords are terrifying mass of people, police can't handle, out of control, 1,000 protesters. Of what? For what? What is this? We're gonna get into this, and if you can think of a more politically correct, clickbait-friendly title for this video, feel free to leave a comment with your tips, because I mean, this is literally what we're gonna talk about today. 1,000 migrants created chaos, to say the least. Apparently some kind of Tivoli was turned up. We're gonna look into it. First, let me inform you that I have a new video out about Sweden's cuckold of a prime minister, and well, here's my other videos in case you've missed any of them. And I'm gonna have a few more coming out this weekend, next week, etc. I've been working for fully lately. Oh, how's my hair? I think I can fix it a little bit, make it look more. How did Ace Ventura do it? Let's see. Yeah, it's starting to look like something. Okinzu Oka has officially arrived in the building. Something like that. Yes, now it's starting to get somewhere. Almost like Lucifer, just almost. Now, don't forget that this channel is sponsored by the #1 CBD provider in all of Europe, and link is in the video description if you wanna get hempy. Now, this is completely legal. It's not THC that's sponsoring my channel, fortunately. It's CBD. It's a nice little chemical. You know what? I advise people to do their own research because, you know, yada yada yada. And check out the reviews on the site. They are quite telling to what you're gonna find. And the where is it? People get out of it. Yeah. I also have a merch store again, finally, which such classics as Beer plus Bacon equals Civilization, Don't Bully Me, I'll Come, Property of State Mental Care, The Autist Buddha. You know, it's some good stuff. Now, just a little piece of advice, because when you scroll down, there's so much stuff here, and I'm still trying to figure out how this website works. It's kind of janky, but click a design you like, and then scroll down to similar products, and everything I've done with it is gonna show up. This is an easier way to navigate the site, I've discovered, than oh, nice, the Saudi colors. Oh, and of course, look in the video description for my link tree. Now, from what I gather, these, wow, that's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, it's a carnival. It took place at a carnival, and 1,000 people just started fighting. A ton of cops have been injured. I think at least 32 people have been seriously hurt. We're gonna read the articles soon. But just this this image right here is just so beautiful. This, man, it's like a whole caravan of people just getting ready to kick some ass. Now, what is this about? I don't know. I know as little as you do. You see this stuff popping up in your feed, you don't get any explanation, and so I did a little bit of reading, and, well, let me just put it like this. This is a Islamist radical here in Sweden who, of course, gets a lot of platforming in our mainstream media, and he explained it like this. Quote, half of you who are now experts at Eritrea couldn't even point out the country on a map. Besides, Eritreans, just like all other beings, are political creatures. To see different political camps collide is not unusual either. Your analyses reek of white superiority. Yeah. Watch out. So, apparently, this is the age-old tradition of accepting refugees together with the people who the refugees run away from. From what I gather, this is a major protest. And it's about...
Och enligt polisen under torsdagen bröt ett totalt kaos ut på Järvafältet när en regimtrogen eritreansk festival ägde rum. Kring 1000 demonstranter stormade regimtrogen eritreansk festival.
Okay, so for some reason Swedish people allowed a dictator-friendly regime confidant Eritrean festival to take place, meaning a pro-Islamist dictatorship festival was approved, and the only reason anyone found out is because 1,000 counter-protesters who have fled the horrible, horrible country of Eritrea, where you don't want to be in prison, or a Christian, or anything but a Muslim, showed up and was like, hell no. So, I guess I agree with the protesters? Yeah, because it appears that the protesters are fighting Islamists here. But then everyone just ends up fighting, and police start fighting too. Tent sticks and wooden sticks were used as weapons against the cops. I still can't put this fucking sentence into my head. On the scene, a regime-friendly Eritrean festival took place, which was stormed by counter-protesters. Yeah, no shit! Who the fuck allowed this to happen? Hey, it feels like I'm back on Live Leak. Feels like I'm back on best... Man, that guy sucks at throwing punches. Look at this. He's been fucking... How many times did he try to punch him? Let me see that again. Look. He's just punching. Those are some soft punches. That guy's just bobbing and weaving like a boss. Yeah, he walked away unscathed after all of that. After all of that, he just walked away unscathed. Wow. Wow! Ilham Sadeh is a very good politician of a party called Medborgerlig Samling. It's basically citizen nationalism as opposed to ethno-nationalism. And he says basically my core sentiment. Foreign disputes will relocate to this country when immigration has been beyond control and direction. And really, you can't... That's the core issue in a nutshell, isn't it? Sweden has a horrible tradition of... I'll get into that just a second. Here's a... moderate... I hate calling them right-wing. They're not fucking right-wing. Moderate party parliament member says it's not reasonable for Africans to have a huge fight in the middle of a field. Sure, I agree with that. At least 55 people are said to have been seriously injured, so that must have been guys that were throwing punches way better than what the video we just watched. When two groups collided during an Eritrean cultural festival. Is that the right way to say it? I agree, it's not reasonable. You know what else isn't reasonable? It's for Swedish people to accept war criminals. Well, they did this shit to us Bosnians too. War breaks out in my country because Serbians want to set up rape camps and conduct some ethnic cleansing with their communist party led by Milosevic, which used nationalists as useful idiots. Of course, Serbian nationalism can't be compared to any Western nationalism. It's an ethno-socialist disease. And what happens is you have a bunch of Bosnians coming to Sweden so they don't have to end up in those rape camps. And then Swedish people take in Serbian war criminals who later, the same people we fled from in other words, who later go on to start the now well-known Yugo Mafia. There's been such a pain in the ass in this country that it's even made its way into numerous movies and pop culture. Serbian Mafia, basically, but Swedish people can't see the difference between Serbs and anyone else, apparently, so they don't care. I've had to encounter more than one dumbass nationalist in this country who claims that Bosnian immigration was a huge problem. Yeah. It's a huge problem to accept people who are 99% hardworking, pay their taxes, assimilate well, do everything, blah, blah, blah. And then the 1% of them you have a problem with are the war criminals you dumbasses shouldn't have accepted to begin with. Because you believe in equality, and you don't want to stereotype, and you don't want to offend anyone, and you can't say there's bad immigrants and good immigrants, so let's just take them all in. Same thing happens a decade later with ISIS, of course. They take in the people who are running away from ISIS, along with a ton of ISIS supporters. And this is a problem in Europe in general. I'm sure you guys have heard of the article of the Yazidi woman who was held as a sex slave by ISIS in the Middle East. She escaped to Germany. And on the streets of Berlin, she met her captor, the man who held her enslaved. Because he was in Germany too. Yeah. See, that's what happened. That's the core reason to why this bullshit can keep happening. Here we have another example. Sweden is taking in people who are escaping the shithole government of Eritrea together with people who support that government. So I don't know why they escaped or why you accepted them or why they're doing here. Of course, we're seeing the same thing now. Christian refugees are the ones burning the Quran lately, and what do Swedish people do? Well, 53% of them, a majority of them, side with the Islamists, want to ban Quran burnings, accuse the Christians of being Russian spies who just want to provoke. Yeah, I think that's not very reasonable. But Porky here has a different idea. Here's a bigger moron, though. This guy has cult member eyes. I love this headline. Expert. African chaos in Järva has nothing to do with immigration. Really? So you're gonna look at this picture and tell me nothing to do with immigration? Just nothing? Nothing at all? Hey, I got a person decent enough to donate. Thanks a lot, Dan Jarendal. I appreciate your contribution to this channel. Did I miss something? Oh, I should check my chat. I got a few donations here. Man, I'm a cynical asshole. Kai Ben Storebro. What a sweet Norwegian man. Randolini. That's a cool name. Randolini. I'm gonna start calling myself Randolini. Thanks a lot for your donation, man. Alex Högström. 50 crowns. Beautiful. Very kind of you. Thank you. What was it our former socialist prime minister said? Stefan Löfven. Immigration will benefit society in the long term. Is this what he was talking about? Yeah. Is this what he was talking about? The highly cultural chaos we've been importing? Is that what he was talking about? Man, I just wish people, I just wish that Swedish people were better at discrimination. They're really bad at discrimination. They discriminate based on all the wrong things, right? They will wag their nose and act like an elitist snotbag, look down on you if you don't have the same clothing style as them. If you dress alternative. Or if you're a metalhead, if you're too working class, they look down on you. But they don't want to discriminate between good immigrant and bad immigrants. They don't want to take a stance and say, hey, we're a bunch of liberals, so fuck anyone who isn't. I mean, honestly, if you guys would have at least owned your liberalism, your country would have been better. You could have had a well-reasoned immigration policy where you take in other immigrants who share your pretty Western values, right? But you don't, because you don't want to discriminate. And you don't want to claim that there's a difference between that and that and that. And in doing so, you end up discriminating anyway, but in the worst ways possible. So you will treat conservatives like they're Islamists, and you will treat Islamists like they're your neighbors. I just feel like this speaks to the value of discrimination. Constructive discrimination. After all, proper science is built entirely on well-reasoned prejudice, so it's not like you can claim that prejudice on its own is bad. I think it would be good to have a certain level of prejudice to where you can at least have basic vetting going on and be like, so you're coming to my country, right? You're not gonna try and like burn stuff down, are you? Like are you one of those guys, or are you coming here to live apart from those guys? Are you one of you wanna live with the? Would you mind having a Christian neighbor? Would you mind having a Jewish neighbor? Like, why aren't there any control questions being asked to do some fucking attitude surveys or just something to find out that you're not importing complete authoritarian morons? That was a weird burp. I don't think I've had enough. Oy vey. So, the day after we get some clearance, this has happened. It was in the middle of the day, 1:30 p.m., Thursday afternoon. Great violence erupted at a regime-friendly Eritrean festival. It was a field in northern Stockholm next to a ghetto. Around 1,000 people showed up, broke through, started fighting. Police was used to attack the people who stand for democracy as opposed to Eritrean dictatorship, but the police had a hard time creating order when they went after all the wrong people. So at 2:40 p.m., counter-protesters armed with wooden sticks and tent sticks surrounded the entire area. 10 minutes later, the festival area was pretty much torn apart. And then, 5 minutes later, yet another storm happened. That's when police started fighting a bit more, demonstrators started dispersing away from the area, and 2:15. Okay, so about an hour later, the whole area was getting cleared out. Demonstrators were being pushed off into the woods. Oh, so I'm not the only angry foreigner that's spending time in the woods. That's interesting. Maybe I should interview those guys. And there was still fighting taking place, of course, at this family-friendly carnival. What the fuck do you call it? Tivoli. It's not an amusement park. It's more like a small semi-amusement park, old-timey fun place. And people started moving into that to cut off traffic because there were so many people. I love this quote. "We weren't prepared for such a capital of violence." That word is so fucking dumb. Who talks like that? Does it even exist in other countries? Våldskapital means a group or entity's capacity for violence. It can be used about political entities, like the cops, or it can be used about terrorists, soccer hooligans, etc. So basically, cops weren't prepared. Because in Sweden, cops are never prepared. Why wasn't the serious situation estimated beforehand? Quote, "Well, we knew that there were going to be very strong, diametrically opposed opinions colluding here, and that there was a risk for disruption in public order if we didn't try to keep a cover on the situation. Our assessment from the beginning was that we could have enough of a dampening effect for this counter-protest to still be held there." Really? So you knew this was going to take place and you thought it was going to be calm, and then you were surprised when literally 1,000 people showed up looking like a migrant caravan. Sounds like Swedish cops, alright. "We didn't have enough resources to hold people there and fight crime, and we weren't prepared for them to have the capacity for such violence that they..." Okay, so you were punked, basically. You were cucked. You were out-dominated by Africans who don't like dictatorships. Is that a good thing? Or is that a bad thing? I don't know. That question will probably be answered in time. I just find it funny how they claim not to have resources when at the same time the Swedish government for years have been ordering cops to chase cannabis smokers and people who drive a little bit too fast in traffic. Basically, prioritize the small crimes that are easy to pursue and ignore the murders and rapes and shootings that are stacking up, not getting solved. Because those crimes are hard to solve, so that's going to make the statistics look bad. So the Swedish government, to make themselves look better, whether it's a right-wing or a left-wing government, the Swedish government, in order to make themselves look better, just want to clear up the statistics. They want the statistic clearance of crimes to look high by focusing on the small crimes rather than the big crimes. And then, in situations like this, they claim not to have resources. Well, go fuck yourself. This could have easily been prevented. All of this could have been prevented. This is not rocket science. You could have basic vetting and not waste money on stupid shit. Like, this is not... How is this a problem? This problem only exists because of complete political laziness. I feel bad for the couple that are owning the people that are owning the public facility that was torn apart, because normally it's just for people who want to have fun. But hey, that's multiculturalism for you. Now, before I go, I'm going to leave you with two things. Number one, the best quotes you could possibly apply to the situation. This is the last time I took my kids to an Eritrean regime-friendly carnival. Yeah, I hear you, brother. Before I go, I also urge you to check out the community tab on my page, because I just did a poll there. Should you be allowed to burn the Quran? Watch and like my video if you want to help it spread. Yeah, so I recently learned that if you click like on a video, comment, share, subscribe, all that engagement stuff, it actually fine-tunes your own feed. It actually changes your own recommendations. That's basically how YouTube lets you subscribe to channels nowadays. It's how much you will interact with them, click buttons, leave comments and stupid shit. But it's easy, it's simple, and it works. It's a way to fight shadow ban, it's a way to make my content reach more people, and it's a way to have fun because my stuff is awesome. So do check out the community tab, and in the video description there's a link tree. I am now advertising my Rent a Foreigner service. You can see what that's about, and there's tons of ways people can support me so I can end up making more videos. Speaking of which, this is what I have planned this weekend, and it's only the beginning. I plan on making more. Oh, you want to take fucking... I hate this glitch. So yeah, at first I thought someone was hacking me because this window on Fantastic YouTube shows up once every 3 minutes. It's amazing it hasn't showed up during this live stream. It actually... Yeah, I'm not gonna do... Really? Okay, well, fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. That's the end of it, I guess. YouTube sucks my dick, and bye. Before I go, I just want to check some of your comments and shoot some shit with you guys if you have any questions or anything on your mind, since you probably can't afford a real therapist. Let's get active in the chat. Oh, now it might work better. Okay, is it gonna work better? Is it gonna work better? Is it gonna work better? Almost. Oh, I got that one. This one. No? No. Man, how the fuck did a Prodigy guy do it? Maybe I should shave the middle of my head. Maybe that will make it easier. Maybe that would make it easier. No, fuck it. Uranus. What do you think of Sufism? Are you really gonna say stuff like that and not even explain yourself? I mean, I know Sufism means Muslim mysticism, like Muslim occultism, Namaste Muslimism, but I don't really know how it can be practically explained. Bro, make some better designs for your shop. I just bought a t-shirt with the recipe, the only good one in the entire shop. Why don't you eat my ass? I have fantastic designs. They sell well. If you have better ideas, then please leave a comment or send me something so I can take a look at it. Asshole. Thanks for buying a shirt, though. Meth sweat helps in making spiky hair. It's a shame I'm not a meth head like you Swedish people. Cocaine is very popular in Stockholm. Stockholm is the meth capital of Europe. Of course, we don't have meth in this country, really, so amphetamine is like a small step down from meth. It's the speed capital of Europe. Oh, thanks a lot for the beautiful donation, Dan. Very nice. Thanks a lot for support, Jim. Man, what a difference between Finland and Sweden. In my country, we have members from Nationalist Party openly talking about the Great Replacement. That's awesome. You have members in your parliament who actually did some basic research, and I actually had an academic professor, well respected from Finland, contact me. Sadly, he didn't want to be interviewed because reasons, but he was concerned. He had done a lot of research on demographics. He wasn't political at all, just this autistic kind old man who had done a lot of research on demographics and was concerned what's going to happen to the state of democracy when the Muslim population reaches a majority in Sweden, which is set to happen around 2050, 2060. Swedish will become a minority, so it's not just going to be a Muslim, Swedes and Muslims, of course. I think Muslims are around... What percentage is it? There's always so many different numbers there. But yeah, 2050, 2060 is when the great replacement will be finalized, in Scandinavia at least. Is the audiobook still a project you intend on doing? Yeah, I'm trying on... writing a book is hard. And making an audiobook is even harder. Especially when so much of your time goes to make videos just to get some basic scrap change to pay the bills with. So, I want to do it, but it's a struggle. And any bit of support helps. I think you should have an interview with Count Dankula. That would be interesting to listen to. Yeah, that guy's funny. That guy's funny. I should. Thanks a lot for the support, Lyle. It has begun in Canada as well. Oh, not Canada! What's gonna happen to your weed culture if you're gonna get all Islamized? That's not okay. Thanks, Dan. Thank you, Kai. Thank you, Angry Sweet Chili. Your comment goes, just another day in Sweden. Yeah, tell me about it. By the way, did you like the article I sent you about the Quran burning man's background as an Iran-backed militiaman from Iraq? Yes, that was interesting. I looked into that. So, the guy that's been burning the Quran in Sweden lately is a Christian refugee who's like in his 30s. And people are freaking out because images have been found of him in like a militia setting. He explains it with the simple fact that you can't, every political party in that S-hole of a country has their own militia. It's like you need a militia to survive if you're going to do politics in Iraq and Iran, which sounds completely feasible. And it was a Christian militia. I don't see anything suspicious about that. A Christian militia in a Muslim country that kills Christians. Seems right. I asked that guy for an interview, actually, on Twitter, but sadly he didn't respond. I think all the death threats and suggestions to get halal slaughtered have been getting to him. David Dowgie asks me, aren't you Muslim? Well, I'm Bosnian Muslim in my ethnic background, but Bosnian Muslims are weird. It's like we chose Islam. It's a complex historical thing I don't want to get into, but basically we chose Islam out of self-defense because Serbs, the only reason they identify as Muslim is because Serbs are so aggressive and violent and similar to Russians in their imperialism boner. So really Bosnians believe more in watching soccer and smoking and drinking way too strong coffee and alcohol. And I only really like two of those things. The coffee and the alcohol. I hate soccer, man. So, yeah, you can't say that in front of those people. No, I'm not a Muslim. I went from being religious when I was a kid, just out of habit, to being an atheist, then agnostic, then a devil worshipper, then an agnostic again, and now I'm something else I might make a video about sometime, but I am Bosnian. We are weird. Yes. Thank you. I blame the Ottomans. How the heck are the Bosnians supposed to survive Islam's view on booze? I mean, what do you mean how? Did you know that in my home country, this is, by the way, I'm pretty sure this applies to all Slavic countries, the reason everyone is drinking so much is because everyone makes moonshine. Like good quality certified moonshine. You can make moonshine out of anything in your backyard, like pears, plums, peaches, apples. Fermentation, yada yada yada. Ends up being cheap. So it's more like... Basically it looks like this. I believe in God. I'm sure he'll forgive me. Yeah, that's basically Bosnian Islam. Oh, here's a good question. Just first. The guy who I earlier told eat my ass, he's a good sport. And I know this. That's why I can talk to you guys like that. Gonna send you some designs and fuck you too. Thanks a lot. That's really cool. There's a business email in the video description. If your designs are nice, I might even be able to pay you. But why would I say that? I'd only be able to pay you so little. But if you want to do that, very appreciated. In the EU, it's called football, you traitor. See, this is what I'm talking about! Do you think there will be a peaceful solution to the immigrant question in Sweden? Or will it slide into a Lebanese-style civil war before then? Now, that's a good question, because here's like a sad thing about political correctness. It makes a lot of people scared. Makes a lot of people worried for the future. So, out in the open, people aren't going to be talking about it. But I know the collective consciousness has a certain darkness where people are wondering, can I even live here in the future? Is there going to be a race war? Is there going to be a civil war? Is the ethno-nationalist narrative gonna pay off, so to speak? And I'm gonna explain why I don't believe so. You see, immigrants, some of them, might hate Swedish people. But they always manage to hate each other more than they hate Swedish people. That's why, for example, all of the criminal gangs we have in this country and all the shooting conflicts, they all share the same story. Like, it's not some kind of big brain organized crime. Sweden's criminal gangs are based on friendship groups of retards who grew up together and basically have a gang because they didn't do well enough in school, and they might have a, preference for rape. And then they get into crime to earn some money because they don't want to have a normal job. And then they start fighting with each other and shooting with each other, and conflicts erupt. So much of that story. All of the guys shooting each other dead used to be friends here in Sweden. They might talk about Swede cunts, but they're not. They're shooting each other more than they're shooting Swedes. And then you have, of course, the party Nuance, the Islamist party Nuance, had a crisis recently, not long ago, where Islamists that want to colonize Sweden politically started fighting with each other because the Turk couldn't get along with the Somali, couldn't get along with some other Arab. There's like so many different ethnicities and countries in Africa and the Middle East, and they all hate each other. I mean, that's multiculturalism for you. That's diversity for you. You can't, like... Also a reason why racism is so stupid, because you literally can't look at Africa and be like, it's all the same shit. Very, very diverse place there. Diverse enough for them to come here and never truly manage to hurt Swedish people more than they hurt themselves. I don't believe Sweden will ever have a race war or even a civil war. I believe we will have enough of a nuisance to remove some civil liberties we take for granted, and the comfort and idealism we have taken for granted is going to dissipate. It's going to restructure into a more neoliberal, neocon the bad kind of capitalist society, is what I think. I don't think it's going to be, because it's not, there was a study done recently on migrant attitudes, and most of them don't have any negative attitudes towards Swedes, even if they're in exclusion. It's really a fringe phenomenon. So who would they side with? It's too messy. It's too diverse. That's the funny thing. It's too diverse of an ethnic composition for there to be able to be a race war or even a civil war. Really, I think the problem could solve itself if you just legalized guns, legalized self-defense, and people let nature sort itself out. You know, I love certain states in Canada and America that allow you to just shoot and kill whoever tries to break into your house. I mean, that's a person that doesn't deserve to go on living, because either they're going to traumatize someone else, or they're going to rape, or they're going to do something else. Criminals are never a result of I'm poor! Most of the fucking people in the ghetto are poor. They don't become criminals. Most people in Bosnia are poor. They don't join the mafia just because of that. You can't blame that shit. It's seems to be just shitty upbringing combined with shitty genetics. So I really don't see the problem with guns at all. What do you think about Serbs? No, I like them. I think they're fine. I can't help but troll the shit out of a certain part of the Serbian population. Might I remind everyone that a huge amount of Serbs fled when the war was taken. It wasn't even a war, because Serbia was just gangbanging my country, but Serbs fled anyway because they didn't want to be a part of it. They found it creepy. A lot of Serbs don't like Milosevic or the Chetniks, so yeah, I don't have a problem with Serbs. I have a problem with ethno-socialists. This person just commented Zlatan, to which someone commented Barbara Lerner Spectre. Yeah, I've seen her insane video where she claims that a certain ethnic group is making Europe multicultural. Sure, she hasn't done a lot to fight anti-Semitism, that dumb cunt. Thanks a lot for your donation, Dan, but you cannot phrase the question. Should we remove all the religious buildings of nuance in Sweden? You mean the Islamist party? Like remove the voting locales, the political locales that the Islamist party has? Is that what you mean? I mean, personally, I don't feel like Islamist political parties should even be allowed in your country. I don't... It's weird. Like, why? Why would you allow that? Just kick it the fuck out. You don't need to be that in love with democracy. Is it even a democracy issue if you don't allow people who outright say, hey, I want to revolutionize your entire society to suck my balls? Is that really something you should, like, allow legally? That's weird. I don't know. What do you think of Thomas Sowell? He's a really good academic. I uploaded a video of his a while back about how criminals are more rational than you think. It's actually ties into the stuff I was talking about earlier. It's like a business mindset. Criminals have a business approach and attitude towards society, so I think more people should listen to that guy. Oh man, there's a lot of questions here. How do I sort this? I know. Yeah. Ooh. Vodka is made from potatoes. Yeah. It sure is. This reminds me of the book about Charlie Wilson's war. He had to bring his own whiskey to Pakistan, where it's illegal to drink whiskey, but of course none of their laws applied to him. Are you sure about that? Is that true? I wouldn't want to take the risk of going to Pakistan with a ton of booze and being like, hey, I'm a Christian, so we good. It's fine. Don't worry. Everything is okay. I don't feel like they would be comforted. I really don't think they would be comforted. What do you think if the solution is to Islamization to everything? What can an everyday man or woman do to fight back? Ugh, that's where it gets messy. Islamization in our country is fueled by political parties giving Islamists literally billions in welfare. One of my videos, it was this week or next week, is going to be about that actually. It's a sick situation when you have right-wing politicians like Moderaterna, our current right-wing government. They're also known for having given Islamists billions and billions and billions in funding over the years. What the everyday man or woman can do to fight back is really just vote better. But that's still, what does that do? That's so cute of you. Best live stream on YouTube. You're the best comment on YouTube. I'm gonna replace my pinned message with yours. Oh yeah. Is there any special tradition from Bosnia you cherish? My brain immediately goes to dark jokes I want to make, and it's probably not a good idea. Screaming? Talking really loud? Probably my vulgar, colorful metaphors. I always talk with insane metaphors that make people laugh. That's a very typically Bosnian trait. Vulgarity, metaphor. Yeah, that's rhetoric. Sadly, the tradition of making your own alcohol is not something I've acquired because I think that would have saved me a lot of money over the years. This is weird because I already answered this. Have you considered having an interview of some sort with Count Dankula? Yeah. I already said I did, so... Did he do something recently to make people be all like, ooh? Is this two different people asking about him? Are you a Zionist? Yes, I am a hardcore Zionist. Hardcore. I believe that Jews deserve their own country. However, there's dirty aspects of Israel foreign policy that certainly can be questioned. But overall, I'm very impressed with Israel. Their military force, amazing, something Sweden can learn from. Their cannabis research. Israel is leading the world in medical cannabis research, so you're all right by me. Alrighty. I thank you guys for all your questions and your patience and for watching this far. I urge you to check out my channel this weekend. I have 3 videos coming out this weekend, 1 each day, and the first one was uploaded earlier today about our complete waste of sperm Prime Minister Milhouse Christensen. It's a good one. Check it out, and I'll see you soon again. I'm trying to be more active on YouTube now. I've had a dry streak for personal reasons. I would love for you to have a live chat with Robert Morris from More Freedom Foundation, an American who has both a pro-American and yet critical view on USA, interesting view on geopolitics. Interesting. I'll check it out. As always, thank you for the wonderful tips, guys. Have a beautiful weekend, and I'll see you soon again.